Hey y'all, Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
We start in the AFC East. All right, y'all ever heard of Vic Mackey? One of the greatest crime fighters in television history. Cleaned up downtown Los Angeles on one of my all-time favorite TV shows, The Shield. Buffalo Bills coach Sean McDermott kind of reminds me of Vic Mackey. Undersized, bald head, tough as 3-day-old, $9 steak prepared well done. Willing to do whatever is necessary to get the job done. The critics called Vic Mackey a dirty cop. They said he enforced the law by breaking the law. The critics never had to police downtown LA at the height of West Coast gang violence. It's like taking on Bill Belichick and Tom Brady in the AFC East. A lot of men have tried. In fact, since Belichick started in New England in 2000, 27 other men have coached in the AFC East. They've all failed. Rex Ryan, Nick Saban, Herm Edwards, Todd Bowles, with the Dolphins and the Jets, Cam Cameron, Tony Sparano. I could go on. Sean McDermott has the best chance at breaking Belichick. Other than Dave Wanstead's initial success in Miami, McDermott is the most successful AFC East coach in the Belichick era. Saturday's showdown with the Patriots is a critical next step in McDermott undermining Belichick. The Patriots are vulnerable. Their confidence is waning. A loss on Saturday would knock the Patriots to the 3 seed in the AFC, and more importantly, I believe it would destroy their confidence in Tom Brady and the offense heading into the postseason. Patriots lose on Saturday, they're done. The opportunity facing McDermott on Saturday reminds me of season 5 of The Shield. Vic Mackey faced his harshest challenge. Internal Affairs Detective John Kavanaugh, played brilliantly by the great Forrest Whitaker. Kavanaugh's pursuit of Mackey was unscrupulous and diabolical as Spygate. Kavanaugh crossed the line when he tricked Vic's wife, Corinne, into sharing information about Vic's autistic son. In retaliation, Vic had no choice but to seduce Kavanaugh's wife. Vic's conquest humiliated Kavanaugh and sent the detective over the mental edge. That's what the Bills can do to the Patriots this Saturday. Tom Brady, Ben Affleck, Bill Simmons, Dan Shaughnessy, and the entire Patriots nation are at their mental breaking point. They know their reign is ending. They're desperate. They're hoping the next ghost-written Antonio Brown apology will get Robert Kraft to forgive AB. They're mad Rob Gronkowski won't come out of retirement. They know they're not good enough to advance to the Super Bowl if they have to play in the wild card round. They know their offense is really fatally flawed, fatally impotent. Buffalo's defense can crush New England's soul on Saturday by winning an ugly game that leaves little doubt Brady is too old and his supporting cast is too weak. Sean McDermott can break Belichick the same way Vic Mackey broke John Kavanaugh, Antoine Mitchell, Armadillo, the Armenian Mob, and Shane Vendrell. Mackey beat his enemies at their own dirty game. McDermott's defense can outperform Belichick's defense. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analysts LeVar Arrington and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Marcellus, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Think another bad offensive performance and loss to the Bills would rattle New England's confidence?
Let me be emphatic and let me be quick. No. Hell no. Like, the fact that Tom Brady's 31-3 against these damn Buffalo Bills, and he goes, oh, they got me. Oh, 31-4. Like, oh my God, rattle the confidence in that situation. And I dare you to see him in the postseason when the mentality shifts and the confidence resets. And who's going to bet against postseason New England? So
me.
Okay. And lose. Man, come on, big dog. Let me tell you about my former team, the Buffalo Bills, and what they're doing right now in closing the gap is building confidence within themselves, which I fully respect. But please don't think that that's going to pour over to where you're going to start to have an effect on what New England feels about the Buffalo Bills until you prove it when it matters most. Postseason with no mulligans. Jerry Hughes and others are saying this is a playoff week. No, it ain't. Because after this week, no matter what happens, you're still going to be in the playoffs. If this happens in the playoffs where you lose to New England, guess what? It's a wrap. Go to the terminal. Off-season started. So This is just one game for Buffalo to build up their confidence, but don't be so crazy to think you're going to steal something from New England.
Okay, but I just want you to be clear.
Yes.
I'm not talking about how New England feels about Buffalo. I'm talking about rattling how New England feels about itself.
By itself. Same thing for me. New England knows postseason, 3-4 game schedule, whatever that may be. Guess what? We reset our confidence. We know that this is a different mindset. I give you the example. Last year, you saw a LA Chargers team that has a veteran quarterback going out against the Baltimore Ravens, Week 16. Baltimore handed it to them. They saw them 2 weeks later. Baltimore didn't know which way was up. When you get into the postseason and you have veteran presence and people who've been there and done that, it's a different attitude.
Would their confidence be rattled? I don't know if it'd be rattled, but they're going to have a lot of doubt. You go to the
That
first.
sounds like
rattle to me. Synonymous.
Go to the first game. Tom Brady, 18 for 39, 150 yards. They blocked a punt for a touchdown. Josh Allen gave him 3 interceptions. He's probably not going to play that bad. The Bills have the third-ranked defense.
Yeah.
And so the Patriots know, and that's why I say I don't know if they'll be rattled, but they'll have a little doubt. They know they're playing against a team with a stout defense. Tre'Davious White is having just as good a year as Gilmore. He's just not getting the credit because he's on the Buffalo Bills. Top to bottom, the Buffalo Bills have a really good defense. The Patriots aren't very good on offense. Joey Edelman, his knee's hurt. Are they going to try to rely on N'Keal Harry to kind of pass a torch to him and say, okay, you're going to be our go-to guy? They haven't done it that much this season. So, yeah, the Bills defensively, and McDermott, he just has that, man, I don't care how big I am. I don't care how good you guys are. We're going to hit you in the mouth 60 minutes out of the whole game. We're going to see what happens when it's over.
The Bills are going to crush their souls. And I can't wait to watch their souls.
What you got?
Just taking that from the Whitlock. It sounded so good when I heard him say it.
Right.
You know? I think it does rattle them. I think it does rattle them if they come up short against this Bills team. This Patriots team does a great job of shielding themselves from any type of reactionary movements or quotables that come from the outside noise. But with that being said, I think we have heard more about the dissension or dismay or just lack of confidence from out of this camp more so than I think we ever have during the course of time of Belichick and Brady's tenure. So they are, I like to call them the most vulnerable, successful team in the National Football League right now. If they lose a game like this to a surging Buffalo Bills team, I think it does further show the mortality of this group. And they're going to have to find a way to get beyond what that loss would represent to them emotionally and mentally before they get to the end of the season and go into the playoffs.
Look, we're doing our job up here. I get it. I think some of us may be doing our job too well. and some of us may be doing our job in excess, beyond too well, to the point where we're now going to talk about this team as a whole and their confidence. Think about it. The only time I've ever lost confidence in my life is when I was at my best and it still wasn't good enough. No other time. When I had a hamstring and you beat, I'll see you next time. When I went out there and I wasn't fully prepared because I was like, Coach, man, you ain't even get us set up for. Okay, I'll get you next time. I'm going to do some extra preparation. When I'm at my best is the only time you have a chance to impact my confidence. Are they at their best? Think about it. 1, they think their best season is postseason. 2, Tom Brady's not playing his best football right now. He thinks, okay, in critical moments going forward, I'll find my way. 3, they're talking about, look, Edelman, we got to put you in the bottle in this postseason to get you right. Stop dropping the ball. We need to get on the same page. All of these issues, the defense is holding up their end of the bargain, but offensively, we know they're not. So their confidence won't wane in a moment where they get caught when they're at their low. But going forward, there is a mentality in that locker room that they're going to fix their woes basically by their preparation and what's upstairs.
On the best team you played for, both of you.
Buffalo, yeah.
Okay, the best team you played, was there a balance between the offense and the defense, or was one unit better than the other?
We were better than them. They were good. I don't know their ranking. We were number 1 ranked. We thought we was going to carry us to the Super Bowl.
What about you? Y'all's offense was better than your defense?
Offense was better, but the defense got a ton of turnovers.
So they were balanced.
Yeah.
The one thing that could come out of a game like this, when you have a dominant side of the ball, the defense going to be sitting there, and you know this.
Oh, all the time.
The defense going to be sitting there looking at
y'all going to score some points?
Right. Hey, man, come on, y'all. Get up there.
What y'all gonna do? Mm-hmm. We giving you every and that
It's
to
been
me,
that way this entire year, though.
And again, there's a breaking point.
Yeah,
yes.
there is. There's a lot at stake going into this game.
That's what I think. If this were, and I think this is a terrific New England defense, but it's not the '85 Bears, and it's not the 2000 Ravens defense with Ray Lewis. I'm just sorry. There's no Mike Singletary. There's no Ray Lewis. There's Stephon Gilmore on the edge is terrific. But that's not a beast in the middle of your defense that's the overwhelming leader of your defense that can carry you. I just don't – they're not a team that just, like, punishes you and snuffs you out. They're a team where Gilmore is going to make some plays on the outside. They may block a punt and create some kind of turnover. But at some point, this defense, to me, is going to look up at some point in this season, and I think it's this Saturday, and be like, hey, man, we've done enough. Are y'all going to figure it out? And I think the frustration we've seen from Tom Brady is that pressure of, damn, it's not getting any better. It's actually getting worse, and I think it's going to get even worse Saturday facing this Buffalo defense.
Okay, let's go back to that defensive scenario. I love it. Which defense is better, Buffalo's or New England? Okay, I know. New England's. All right, so if you look
You're pulling hairs with that one.
Yeah.
You're pulling hairs.
Hey, can I do that, though?
But yeah.
Okay, all right.
You pull your hairs.
I mean, all right, I understand that, but they're competing against each other, so it may be one hair that makes the difference.
That's
right? That's all I'm saying. Okay, so if you're on Buffalo's defense, you're like, we're as good as them. All right? So we're going to win the game because our defense is as good as them and our offense is better. And then somebody going to say, hey, bro, have you been watching our offense lately? The last 4 games, we won 3. But how many times have we scored over 21 points? Oh, we have not. 20, 17, and 17. Hey, bro, when we walked out the locker room, we always said as a defense, we win. We win. You give us 3, we won.
Yeah.
Like 21 is done. 21. They don't even score 21 points.
New England is used to scoring points. This is rare for them this season.
Okay.
Buffalo Bills have never been a high-powered offense since Jim Kelly. Really? When have they been high-powered like this? Since Sean McDermott has been a head coach, they've relied on this defense to win them games and at least keep them in the game.
Okay.
Tom Brady, they dropped 31 passes this year already. They only dropped 25. He doesn't have a guy that he can go to, and that's going to affect them. And another one, they lose this game, they'll probably be the 3rd seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
It's going to be a ton of pressure on them to play well and play well very early in this game.
But I just don't go into the whole bleed over effect of, we're used to scoring points. What we have, the ninth in scoring offense this year?
When you see Tom Brady sitting on the bench, on the sideline, that's frustration because he knows, man, we're supposed to be better than this. You're supposed to be doing this. We should be putting up points because of what they've done in the past.
But it's funny, the Seattle Seahawks right now, everyone talks about they're led by their offense. And New England has scored 1 more point than the Seattle Seahawks. But no one talks about it with the same complexion, with the same perception. We look at New England like, the sky is falling, but not in Seattle.
Well, just keep in mind, when you look at the points scored, some of that is New England's defense scoring some of those points. So I'm not sure if that separation is accurate. The other thing, this is my expectation, and this is more gut feeling from the limited amount I've watched Buffalo. I'm not going to say I've watched them like the Chiefs or the Ravens or some of these other teams, but I expect their defense to be more physical than New England's defense. And I expect Tom Brady to experience the price of that physicality. And again, Josh Allen gets hit, young baby kid, he's going to pop right back up, keep rolling. When you start hitting this 42-year-old dude who the coach has already done said this year hasn't been able to practice all the time, hasn't always been available, you start hitting him in close to Christmas, this late in the season after playing 14, 15 games, it's going to matter and it's going to add up. I think Buffalo's defense is more physical. I think they're going to be more physical on Saturday, and I think they're going to knock Tom Brady to the ground enough to bring out some frustration in him, bring out some turnovers in him, and that's going to separate. And then coming out of this game, sore body, sore mentally, the Patriots lose confidence that this team is the same as the previous one.
Winners know how to win games. The Patriots are still winners by definition. going into this game, even if the numbers do not scream great success on offense, if they win the game and it isn't a lackluster performance where you can say, you know what, the numbers weren't high. We've seen guys win games where the numbers were not high, but they played in a way and in a manner that represented winning. And I think that that's what this New England Patriots team, if they're being wise, that's what they're looking for going into this game. Can we win ugly games? Can we win without having a big-time offense?
They've been doing that the whole season.
Okay, can they do it in this game?
One quick
this
point.
Is a big game.
Josh Allen has missed more games in his career in the last 2 years than Tom Brady has. So that old man stuff, you know what I mean? Josh Allen got knocked out his rookie year.
Here's an honest question. How are you supposed to know what to do with your money? Very few of us are exposed to meaningful advice on how to manage our finances. Even fewer have the means to get professional financial guidance. Betterment is a platform that was built to do something radical, to give accessible financial advice that puts you first. If you're like most Americans, your money is probably sitting in a savings account, likely earning next to nothing. Maybe you have an investment account that you're not really sure what to do with. Betterment can help you make sense of what to do with your money. Investing involves risk, but you don't have to know the ins and outs of the stock market to start saving more or start investing for your future. Betterment's technology will put your money to work, choosing the stocks and the strategies that are right for you, because we know you have other things to do. Betterment's platform can even provide guidance on what financial goals make sense for you. Give your money a new home with Betterment, peace of mind included. Download the Betterment app today. That's BETTERMENT for the betterment of you. Time now for a big story sponsored by KFC's $20 plus fill-up. Order ahead or get it delivered at KFC.com.
2020.
All right, let's move to the Cowboys, who are gearing up for their huge matchup with the Eagles on Sunday. Today, Dallas was without Dak Prescott again, who didn't throw in practice for the second straight day with a shoulder injury. Dallas is expecting Dak to play, but he's still without a long-term deal. And we just saw shoulder injuries help derail the careers of guys like Andrew Luck and Cam Newton. All right, the question here is, guys, should Dak consider sitting out against the Eagles?
Yes, he should consider it, but I think that he's going to have to play. Because Dak finds himself in a pure dilemma, the true definition of it. Two bad choices right here. You talk about his shoulder injury, AC joint. Raise your hand, you ever had an AC joint injury? I did. And the thing about it is, it's painful, not so debilitating. You take the long needle and you're all right. But boy, I played through an AC joint injury and it led to rotator cuff tear, which led to my labrum tear, which led to reconstructive shoulder surgery. And I'm not predicting that for him. I'm just telling you that the AC joint doesn't get better, and it actually compromises all things around it. So that's, on one hand, that's his thoughts. But then the other hand is like, if we lose this game, and what happens in week 17, we lose that game, we're out the playoffs. So he has to start to think in the pressure NFL culture of more than himself, more than just what his injury issues are. So two bad choices, but the lesser of the two evils is actually to play this week, get the win, make sure you're in.
Nah, he shouldn't consider sitting out at all. And Dak Prescott has come across as a guy that he wants his teammates to feel they can rely on him. They haven't given him a deal. He hasn't said one word about it. He didn't go to Cabo. He's shown up every day. He's put his best foot forward, more than a lot of guys would have done. I probably would have made a fuss about that. They need him Sunday. Without Dak Prescott, they don't have a chance to win a game. Cooper Rush is their backup quarterback. If Cooper Rush is in that game, you might see 10 in the box. And so he has to play just for the optics of to keep the Eagles honest. Now, if his shoulder is that bad, is what you said, he's going to take a shot. He'll feel very good in the first half. And midway through that third quarter, it'll start to ache a little bit. But there's no way he can consider. This is, for all in essence, their first playoff game. They lose this game, it's over. That's it. They're not going to go to the playoffs. And so for that matter, he's going to have to play this weekend.
Yeah, I'm saying no as well. He shouldn't consider sitting out. And we talk about things that derail. You talked about the injuries derailing, that AC joint derailing a career. Well, how many how many quarterbacks have had a career derailed by being available? Right? If we're weighing and measuring availability versus the shoulder injury, even if this shoulder injury ended up being an injury that derails his career, the accountability, the availability has derailed way more careers. He's got to overlook this injury and say, in spite of the injury, I am the man that's playing for this team in the biggest game of this season. This is easily the biggest game of his season and Dallas's season. You can't miss that in question.
I think he's caught in a very difficult dilemma because he goes out there, let's say he plays poorly with the shoulder injury and they get beat up.
Yep.
He's damaged his contract leverage and value. Let's say he protects himself and sits out. He definitely damages his contract and value. Let's say he goes out there and further hurts his shoulder because he takes the shot beforehand, and a lot of times that will mask when you further damage it until after the game, and then you realize, oh my God, that hit I took in the third quarter or second quarter did even more damage. And so Dak Prescott is, and this is where Jerry Jones and these guys won't feel sorry for him, and this is where people say football's cruel. They had a very nice contract on the table for the dude all offseason, around $30 million. He felt like he was worth more than that and wouldn't take the contract. And so I won't blame the Cowboys if he goes out there and gets hurt even further, and then they don't end up giving him the kind of contract everyone expects. Oh, the Cowboys are taking it. No. They had a contract on the table with this dude all summer going into the season, a very nice contract that I felt like was appropriate. I'm sure Jerry and him felt like it was appropriate. He said no. Dak's in a tough spot. I think he'll go out there and play, but I think his play will be compromised. Maybe he'll have some hero performance, and this will be his Michael Jordan flu game, Gatorade moment, and it'll enhance his value. But I think there's more chances of bad ramifications than that possible good ramification.
Yeah, short term and long term. Yeah. I'm telling you, that AC joint, and I'm fine. And then when I went to get my surgery in the offseason, doctor was like, oh, we're going to be in there for a minute. It's not just AC joint reconstruction or like I said, rotator cuff is late. It just compromises everything. You talk about the formula. And if I'm Dak, one thing that I have solace in believing is I have a 2-year, $73.4 million contract already guaranteed, 2 franchise tags. Let's just be real. And that's probably the worst case scenario. So 36.7.
If he's hurt?
Oh, they're going to franchise. If he's hurt and he gets shoulder surgery, they're going to franchise him. Drew Brees comes to mind. When you give up on somebody with a shoulder issue, they can come back to haunt you. So I still think he's going to get franchised at the worst. I say this, though. What happened to the formula of less Dak, more Zeke is our success? We saw that happen even against the Eagles. Zeke is 5-0 against the Eagles, averaging 163 scrimmage yards. And the 2 best games for the Dallas Cowboys this year were the games where Dak Prescott had the fewest attempts. Philadelphia and the Rams, 27 and 23 attempts. So by just simple math, why not just roll out Dak, let him go out there and do little, let Zeke do the most of the heavy lifting, and let's win this game.
There's a lot that can come from this. If Dak Prescott injures himself, you will see the ramification. You will see every player in the league now start to say, oh, if I'm a good player and they're not giving me a deal, I'm not playing.
They gave him a deal, TJ. He said no.
Well, that's not a deal.
Nobody's going to take a deal.
That's a negotiation. That's not a deal.
Nobody's going to take a deal that they feel they should get more than. But what I'm saying is this. You're going to see a lot more guys go to Cabo. You're going to see a lot more guys get to training camp and say, oh, I can't practice. Because you see, Dak played with a lot on the line. He was hurt, and now it affected him in his livelihood moving forward. And so that's where it's a slippery slope. You go out there and play and hurt yourself. Guys are going to be watching this game, and they know what's going on.
Dude, if they had a 4-year, $120, $125, $130 million contract on the table, I'm not shedding a lot of tears for Dak. No, I'm sorry.
So
he may not think he was worth more than that, but
when you say that, Jason, it's really a 5-year because it's an extension.
Okay, whatever.
So now it's a 5-year it's really not the.
Here's the problem.
It's not the same.
But here's where it becomes a even more slipperier slope. If guys begin to take that approach that, well, I'm not going to play, you're going to get replaced. Like, let's be clear here.
I guarantee, bro.
and if we didn't learn that with what's going on with Antonio Brown, and listen, far different circumstances, but still the premise remains the same. If we can say we're going to pass up on a future Hall of Fame receiver that could help our team more than any receiver we have on our team right now based upon X, Y, and Z, you're going to still categorize a guy that says, I'm thinking about myself more than I'm thinking about y'all, and I'm letting you know that I'll be in Cabo, holler at my agent, right? I think you're now running into a whole nother set of issues as it applies. Football is not a bubble wrap sport. Go play if you can play, and let the chips fall where they may. That's my call.
All right, I know that's your call, but let me give you my experience on the other end of that call.
Come on.
I had what killed my career was, I told you guys before, I tore my abdominal wall. Had the same injury, Donovan McNabb had that thing, Javon Curse had it. Those guys, Julius Peppers had it. Missed 8 games and just was like, I'm done. I'll see you next year. And here I go with your mentality. I'm going to do it for the team. I'm going to go out there. Hey, I played through a foot and got 13. I played through a back, got 11. So what? Here we go. And I tried to play through that thing for that reason. That reason. Because they already gave me the money. I didn't want to look like I just took the money and wanted to chill. And I did it. And I never, ever got back to where I should have been. Not saying that I'm projecting that for that. I'm just saying I respect what TJ's saying.
But you might have not ever got back to it.
Well, we don't know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. But
you're not just doing it for the team. You're doing it for you as well.
But what he's saying is what's happening at the collegiate game in terms of bowl games. Listen, Nick Bosa, like, hey, man. I'm not playing. I got to keep my value.
And I don't like it.
I love it. I love it.
I don't like it.
TJ Houshmandzadeh's back with us. We're joined now by Fox college football analyst and Super Bowl champion Reggie Bush. All right, let's move to Jacksonville, where the Jaguars fired Executive Vice President of Football Operations Tom Coughlin yesterday. The firing came as the NFLPA began warning players about signing with the team over reports of excessive fining of players, including former Jag Dante Fowler, who was fined more than $700,000 last offseason. Coughlin has 2 Super Bowls on his resume and has long been considered one of the NFL's elder statesmen. Now he's toast. Does being fired hurt Tom Coughlin's legacy?
No, not at all. If you know who Tom Coughlin is, you know his reputation. And I'm not just talking surface level. Those who have encounters, experience with him, you know this is part of the territory that Tom Coughlin was going to go down in flames, because that's how Tom Coughlin rolls in terms of being so definitive in what he wants his culture to look like. So it's smart of the owner, Shad Khan, to actually do it this way. When a letter comes out from the NFLPA that says 25% of all the club grievances are coming from your ball club alone, and the second paragraph says, so for all you free agents out there, when you have an opportunity to think about going to a ball club, keep this in mind. I don't care if you were waiting to the end of the season. You got to get rid of him right then to get equity back with your current locker room and potential free agents. So his legacy becomes secondary, especially if you're owning this team and trying to move forward.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt his legacy. He built his legacy on being a hard-nosed coach. Yeah. And he tried to go into the front office, and it was just basically front office bullying what he was doing. And when you look at it, what he did in Jacksonville, he signed Calais Campbell, played great. A.J. Bouye played pretty good. Barry Church, pretty good. He drafted Leonard Fournette, Jalen Ramsey, and all those. He did a really good job of acquiring players. It was just his personality. He was trying to coach the team from the front office. And Levy finds like he was still coaching, and you can't connect both. And that's how I look at it. Leonard Fournette, you get $100,000 for sitting on the bench because you're inactive.
Man.
Like, that turns the players against the coach, and it's not even a coach implementing the fine. It's Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, well, he also extended Blake Bortles and also signed Nick Foles as well. So, you know, I think this is very significant because how many times do we criticize players when they make mistakes, right?
Man.
And the workplace, you guys know this firsthand. The workplace in football is stressful enough, right? It's stressful enough to have to go through a week by week, and having to play at the very highest level, right? And when you're fined for little things, whatever it is. I don't know all the things they was fined for, but I know $700,000 is a lot of money.
You pissed off.
That's pissing me off. That pissed me off when I read it.
Yeah, no, it really does. That's a lot of
imagine.
money.
That's a lot of money. You know, these are guys' livelihoods. This is how they provide for their families, their kids. And when you just finding guys like that, man, it just leaves a real bad taste in your mouth.
You know, one of my college coaches was a longtime Tom Coughlin assistant running backs. Gerald Ingram, he's with him with the Giants and at Boston College. Great guy, swore by Tom Coughlin. What Tom Coughlin's big mistake here, when I look at the way he ran the Jaguars, is the new strategy is to empower players within your organization to be your policeman, for them to hold the locker room accountable, not you. And so that takes the building of relationships. So rather than fining teams to death and trying to instill accountability that way, he needed to build a relationship with 4 or 5 guys in that locker room and empower them to hold people within the locker room accountable.
That old school way of thinking, though, he can't.
That's the model.
He can't transition.
That's the model now.
Yeah, and look, when you just fine without explanation, you're just teaching them this is going too far. But you need to teach them where to stay. Where is our culture? What are we really having as core principles? And he never did that. Like, I went to Jacksonville. I wouldn't have went if Tom Coughlin was there. When I got there, I heard the haunted house stories of Tom Coughlin of yesterday. I was like, damn, he used to do what? And it was unreal. Even in New York, they were trying to fire him every time they win a Super Bowl. They were trying to get rid of him. They had a near mutiny in New York before a Super Bowl to get rid of Tom Coughlin. So his legacy, I think, is properly defined. Like, he was hard-nosed, and that's how he wanted to go.
Now we see what happened with Jalen Ramsey. He had the spat with Doug Marrone. He says, had a talk with somebody in the front office. We can't fix this. That talk was with Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin must have said some things to him that rubbed him the wrong way, and it was no turning back.
Reggie Bush and LeVar Arrington are back with us. Time now for Darnell's question of the day. All right, take it away, homeboy.
Yes, sir. Let's move to the Carolina Panthers. Yesterday, Whitlock, you said it looked like the Panthers were trying to get back together with Cam Newton. And it sounds like Cam wants to get back together, too, saying recently that the team will, quote, have to ship me off for me to leave. So I want to ask you guys, do you think Carolina is actually the best place for Cam to recharge his career?
Could you restate ship? Can you say ship?
Ship.
Okay, got you. I thought you said.
Come on, we know what you did.
I thought you said something.
I know what you did.
Damn.
We know what you did right there.
Come on,
Now let's see how you gonna play off of that.
All right, I'm sorry. Well, I don't think Carolina is the best place for him to recharge.
Okay.
I think there's too much history there and not all of it good. I think he's been there 9 years, 6 losing seasons. I think there's going to be a new coach, relatively new ownership that'll have him on a 1-year deal, and it's easy for them to get out of that relationship midway through the season or at the first sign of distress. I think Cam needs a fresh start in a new city like Los Angeles with the Chargers.
You know what? That's an interesting scenario right there. Especially I got the Chargers season tickets. Not mad at the value proposition there. But I stay still if I'm Cam. One, you just have too much equity in that place and the status quo. Whether you think that in totality has not been as optimal as his talents would suggest, you still have to respect that this is an MVP who's had some winning seasons and a Super Bowl appearance with this franchise. And a $19 million contract next year, which puts him on the
expendable.
Makes him expendable, makes him on the cheap
side.
For this team to say, you know what? We're not so invested in him that we're going to hold him to this absurd standard. But your scenario plays as well because there's only $2 million in dead cap, so that means we can get rid of you and let you get that big deal right now before we go through this proposition. But if I'm Cam Newton, you ever have a house guest and then it's midnight and you be like, damn, what they doing in there? Like, they trying to find an outlet. They turn on all the lights because they don't know where stuff at. I don't want Cam to be 31 at the Chargers facility trying to figure his way out when he is too damn good and too damn great for this league. And he has
Chargers got better receivers.
They do. Don't talk me into that because if you take me there, that has to happen. But for me, if I'm Cam, I stay still and use up all my equity.
So it sounds like what you're talking about is continuity, then, right? And I think that speaks to a larger picture because you said he has equity in the franchise. He has equity with the fan base. He's won there. I think continuity is best for Cam Newton right now. So I think that means staying in Carolina. There's a reason why Drew Brees has been really good, throughout his career in New Orleans. Why Tom Brady has been really good throughout his career in New England, because of the continuity, right?
Same coach.
The same coaches, right? And I know he's going to get a new coach, but he still knows the lay of the land, and I think there's something to be said for that.
The community equity, as you mentioned, the equity and what he's been able to accomplish. Again, getting a new coach, I think you look at what's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now. Because of his strength in his community, Cam Newton actually could possibly call the shots a little bit more than what the head coach they bring in may be, depending on who that guy is, right? Like if it's a Kitchens or a LaFleur or something like that, Cam might have more of a pen. And I'll just tell you a quick story in talking about equity.
We're going to retire that term.
Yeah, that's twice, man.
What's that?
We're going to retire that term. Go ahead, man. We're going to retire that term. Go ahead.
Anyways. When I played in Washington,
Still thinks he's Uncle Jimmy.
Right, for real. Man, we trying to eat up here. Go ahead, man.
For all the times that you sign autographs and do things within the community, that one day that you don't feel so good about doing it, you could walk away and the people are like, you know what, get home, rest, we'll see you next week, it'll be okay. You go to a new place, it's a whole new set of rules. I can remember when I went to New York and I had one of those type of games where I just wanted to go home. I didn't want to stay and sign autographs with the fans and take a whole bunch of pictures, and I got told off. I got a whole lot of profane words shot at me for, why did we bring you here? Different things like that. And I just think for Cam, where he's at right now with his emotions, because he seems to be a guy that's connected with his emotions, I think Carolina is the best place for him because that's where the people love him the most at this point.
Yeah, it reminds me of LeBron James when he came to L.A. last year. First year, LeBron James came to L.A., gave you MVP numbers, and people were cursing him out in these L.A. streets.
They was.
The famine everywhere he saw his face, because they were like, dog, all that equity is over there.
Yeah.
So if he does the same thing in Carolina, it's accepted differently than if he does something like that anywhere else. And if you come to L.A. and don't win with a new stadium and all the investment they have, they're going to be on your head so quick.
I like your LeBron analogy, but the reason why LeBron was able to make that move is because he had so much belief in his own skills. He's like, I'm going to fix whatever problems I got with L.A. fans, I'm going to fix with my performance this year.
In year two.
Yeah, and so does Cam still have confidence in his performance? Because if he does, he needs to go someplace else, like the Chargers, play with some better receivers, fresh start, new market, because I think they have they got great memories in Carolina, and that's what's fueling. Oh, don't leave, Cam. We want you. But what if they get into next season, 6-7 games in, and Cam's not performing or they're not winning at a high level? Watch them same people turn, and it ain't gonna be keep Cam billboards.
But then he hasn't. But then he hasn't exhausted that lifeline, which is I go somewhere else, fresh air, fresh start, and new scenery, and now I can pick my career up again.
32.
But that's young for quarterbacks. Let's be real about that. Let's talk about the confidence. What did we say in the A block? Confidence is only affected when you're at your best and it's not good enough. Cam was 6-2 before he got hurt. So Cam is still confident, like if I could
Then
just
come to LA. If he's still confident.
I just want to wait one more year where I'm at. I don't want to sell my house and all I got in it just because that one looks fresher.
You got 3 or 4 new quarterbacks coming into the league next year, and everybody's falling in love with the young quarterbacks, blah, blah. Cam next year, I think there's no better time for him to move next year, particularly if he doesn't have a great season. I think his value's undermined, and people are all sitting around going, well, damn, how can I get me a Lamar or a Patrick Mahomes or one of these young quarterbacks?
I think you make a great point, because when I look at Drew Brees and his situation, how that played out in San Diego, when he got injured, he had the torn rotator cuff, and Dr. James Andrews said they had never seen anything like this as bad as it was. They were in uncharted waters, I think was a quote that he said. And then you fast forward to now Drew Brees that we've all grown to know and love because of the decision that he made to leave, the decision the Chargers made to get rid of him.
And got Phillip Rivers.
Right, and got Phillip Rivers.
Do they have Phillip Rivers on the Carolina Panthers right now?
That's the question.
Not yet.
All right, Darnell, is there a Super 6 this weekend?
Yes, sir, there is actually a special Super 6 for the 3 Saturday games. And before the games kick off, be sure to download the Fox Sports Super 6 app and play for free for your chance to win. One of the games this weekend is the Rams and 49ers. I want all you guys to help our fans win some money. So give us a score and tell us who wins.
The 49ers are hot about last week. They're going to play very, very well. I think the spread is around 6.5. I think the 49ers win by 8, 31-23.
Okay, I got the 49ers 29-17. They win this game. Rams, it's a wrap, bruh.
So we're picking. I'm gonna go 21-14, and I think that the.
This is Pop Warner.
Yeah, I don't
Oh, nice and neat.
I don't see the Rams. I don't see the Rams doing it. They'll be pretty clean with maybe 2 touchdowns, maybe 1 garbage time touchdown, 1 early touchdown. 21-14, 49ers.
8th grade score.
I like the 49ers this one. I think, like you said, I think they'll be angry about last week losing to the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're going to run the hell out of football because the Dallas Cowboys just proved that you can run all over this team. And I think they're going to get a big win at home. So I like the 49ers 31-17.
Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Rick Bucher. Time for the most fearless discussion of the day. All right, a week from Christmas and the official start of the NBA season, with the Lakers nestled atop the league standings at 24-4, and just 24 hours before those same Lakers take on the other league leader, Milwaukee, Magic Johnson told the Los Angeles Times he deserves credit for the Lakers' success. Now, I just said a mouthful. Take a minute and let it all sink in. Discussion of the NBA heats up around Christmas. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks are tied for the best record in basketball, and they play tonight on TNT. And yesterday, the LA Times' Bill Plaschke wrote an article framing Magic Johnson as Santa Claus and quoted Magic taking responsibility for the Lakers' success. The timing of Plaschke's column is not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, especially not when it comes to celebrity brands. Every move is calculated, including granting Plaschke an interview while giving poor kids free bikes. This is where I should mention that Magic Johnson is my favorite athlete of all time. A framed photograph of Magic hangs in my apartment as you watch this program. I really admire great athletes. I have a strong distaste for celebrity brands. High-performing athletes are driven, spontaneous, and authentic. High-performing celebrity brands are driven, calculated, and fraudulent. Magic the brand is a Christmas story the LA Times and other media outlets have been telling for 3 decades. It's no different from Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Except Frosty, Rudolph, and the Grinch don't pretend to be real. They have egos controlled by writers. Celebrity brands control their own egos, and not very well. Magic Johnson quit running the Lakers when the job proved to be too difficult for his work ethic and too dangerous for his ego and brand. He quit in the most unprofessional manner possible. He couldn't bring himself to tell his boss and longtime friend Jeannie Buss, and he went on a media tour savaging the reputation of his former colleague Rob Pelinka. And now, with the Lakers the toast of the NBA, Magic consented to having another Christmas story written about him. Magic arranged for Bill Plaschke to interview him while he was anonymously giving out Christmas gifts to poor kids. And during this anonymous gift gifting that is now published in the Los Angeles Times, Magic took credit for the success of the Lakers, saying, quote, "This team would not be in the position it's in without me. This was my strategy. This is what I thought we'd be in 3 years. I knew we were on the right track. Everybody wanted it their way, but I'm good with who I am. I think people respect what I've done for the team." This is the delusion fueled by fame, fortune, and 24/7, 365 brand building. Celebrity brands are in a constant state of self-promotion. Magic Johnson, the athlete, was an awesome teammate. He elevated everybody he played with and shared the credit for the team's success with Kareem, Worthy, and Pat Riley. Magic Johnson, the athlete, would sing the praises of Jeannie Buss. She's the one who weathered the assaults on her competence, her integrity, and her friendship with Kurt Rambis' wife. Jeannie Buss withstood the fire like a grown-ass woman. Magic quit. That's your Christmas story. Magic is the Grinch trying to steal Genie's Christmas. All right, guys. Marcellus, get us rolling.
Wow.
Does Magic deserve any credit for the Lakers' success?
Yes, he does. He deserves a ton of credit for this. And I want you guys to go back to how this all started, because I think what we're doing is putting a high emphasis on how it ended. And the way it ended wasn't admirable, wasn't optimal by Magic Johnson, obviously. But don't let the way he went out distract you and detour you from reality because of the work he did before that moment. Magic Johnson was more than Santa Claus. He was the parachute that saved this franchise as it was going out of control, spiraling downward at a rapid rate ever since Jeanie Buss took over. No playoff appearances still to this date since Jeanie Buss has been the owner of this team, who I love a lot. 27 wins, 21 wins, 17 wins, 26 wins. And here comes Magic the parachute in February 2017. Let's stop this. Come on now. Then all of a sudden, 35 wins. Oh, that doesn't seem like a lot for the Lakers of old and Showtime Lakers, but for these Lakers, Jeanie Buss-led Lakers, oh, that's a lot. 37 wins. And then Magic taps out. But those seeds were planted. Those moves were made. Talking about the cap space. You talk about one, Magic Johnson is the reason LeBron James is here in terms of what executive was able to make that deal. He didn't even talk to Luke Walton for 6 weeks? Like LeBron's in town at Bev, Piece of Rev, and all these places, and not even talking to his coach. It was Magic Johnson that made that happen, which also is a part of what made Anthony Davis a Los Angeles Laker. So I just want to respect the continuum, which is Magic helped save this franchise and, more importantly, redirected it to where it is right now.
First thing, when I talk to my kids or I do any sort of media training with people, one of the things that I tell them is let somebody else sing your praises. Oh. The idea that he's asking for credit, I will give it to him, but it's a bad look that he wants to come out after the way things ended and say, I deserve credit for where we are. And here's the most important thing. Okay, I will give you some credit for where they are. Where are they? This is like me going into one of Magic's Starbucks, and I order my Americano, and the barista is going to work, and the cashier goes, oh, by the way, you know what? You wouldn't be getting that without me. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I don't even know how good the cup of coffee is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Lakers are just yet. And second of all, it's a bad look that you want to jump in and say that I owe you something for what I've paid for. The reality is, do you know who was on December 19th, 2018, last year? Who was in first place in the Western Conference? That would be the Denver Nuggets. Yeah. December 19th, 2017, who was in first place? That would be the Houston Rockets. So, yes, you are 24-4. You are in first place in the Western Conference. You get credit for that. You also get credit for the fact that you don't have a first-round pick in 2021. If we're going to go all the way down the line, you don't have a second-round pick in 2022. New Orleans controls your pick in 2023, and you don't have a pick in 2024. So let me see where this team goes and what it does. This, to me, this quote has the potential. This team would not be in the position it's in without me. Has the potential of coming back and biting him the same way Joe Lacob once upon a time said, we are light years ahead of everybody else. And now everybody is throwing it back at him. If the Lakers don't complete this, if they don't keep Anthony Davis, which they still have to do, then there's going to be people who are going to say, yeah, Magic, you're right. We would not be in this position without you, but it's not going to play quite the way it does right now.
I don't like it because they're 24-4. If they were 18-10, this interview never happens. Never.
Christmas happens.
Again, Christmas.
Bikes are given.
He never has this interview. He's not, again, he can interview Plaschke at his home, at Mickey D's, at Ruth Chris. There's a bunch of places. That's hey, come interview me while I'm being Santa Claus and make that part of your story. Listen, this man trying to jump in here and steal some shine from Jeanie Buss, who he just said we haven't even talked this season. We really haven't even made things right. It's a bad look. It's what I love Magic the athlete. I hate that everything about athletes has been perverted by brand building. This is just brand building. It's a bad look for Magic Johnson on a bunch of different levels. And Rick's point of taking credit for 24-4, come take credit after they hang a championship, then say, hey, they should give me credit. This is premature, and it just screams to me jealousy, envy, regret. He wishes he was there so he could beat his chest and say, I did say this, and he can't. You start with Jeannie Buss, then you go to Pelinka, and then you go to LeBron James. That's who deserves credit, and this dude should have been quoted in the paper singing those three people's praises.
Okay, I have a lot to unpack right here. First of all, I'm feeling the double team, coach. I got to turn, twist my hips, get skinny in the hole.
I got an next one.
I know how to get out of double teams. Okay, one, Magic Johnson in this interview, you have to go 40%, maybe halfway through before you even get to Lakers conversation, because this interview at its core was really about his getting back to who Magic Johnson is in essence.
I'm pumped to break.
Oh, here comes the journalist. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
I knew.
I craft these stories for a living, and so does Rick.
Right.
The heart of that story is about the Lakers. Everything else is just an excuse.
I can respect that. But he still did the work in the moment for you to have the excuse to build and craft your argument. Here's the thing. I have a real issue with people who are taking exception with Magic in this moment, because it's really only a personality quirk that you really have an issue with. And I'm talking to you, Rick Bucher. I've always had this issue since I was in grade school, and it's like compliments versus credit. And I'll give you an example. People want to give compliments because they really want the power to say what you are and how you're being perceived. So there's really a selfish play in me giving you compliments. And here's the example. If Tony Dungy were ever to let it leave his mouth that I did most of the construction of that Tampa Bay team that John Gruden actually won with, people will lose their minds. But those same people are the people who go around right now every time John Gruden says, yeah, I won the Super Bowl. Oh, you won it with Tony Dungy's people. They will be hypocritical. They flip. The same thing happens in Golden State. When Steve Kerr obviously played himself into a position where he's not just benefiting from Mark Jackson's players. But if Mark Jackson ever wanted to actually say, why do I have to wait for you to give me credit and give you the power when I actually already know what it is? I've seen this played so many different ways in sports and in real life. Beautiful girl shows up at school. This used to happen, Tiffany Cambridge. Everyone would say, you look amazing, you look amazing. Then one day, Tiffany finally came to school and said, how you like how I look? Yeah. You know, wait a minute. You know why? Because the person giving the compliment wants so much credit. Magic Johnson is saying literally the reality and the facts. This franchise was going this way. And all I'm saying is they wouldn't be in this position if it weren't for me. But we have to wait for Rick Bucher and Jason Whitlock and everyone else to say it before Magic can say it.
No, there's two things here. And I don't want to steal your thunder because I can see what you have over there.
Yeah.
That's the key word, dismissal.
But the reality is, in a general context, I can agree with some of what you said.
Yeah.
But it's circumstance. And the circumstance is that Magic bailed on this situation.
Go ahead, use my word.
He quit. He left. And not only did he quit,
Mark Jackson got fired. Tony Dungy got fired. They didn't quit. In sports, you don't quit. And trust me, I tried it when I was a kid, and my father went off.
Yeah, I tried to quit too.
And didn't play my 5th year of college, and they won a championship without me.
That's to my point with why I don't think this story is as disingenuous as you think it is. You know why? Because he even admits that I still haven't talked to Jeannie. He even admits that was the weak way out. So why would you craft a story where you're going to take shots at yourself and take shots that are not going to put you in the best light? I think Magic Johnson is just being transparent. There's some good, there's some bad. I deserve some credit, but not all the credit. And you just got to read that story and have that balance.
But where was it in this piece where he said, you know what, Rob's done a hell of a job? Jeannie held the ship together even though I stepped off and I did it in such an abrupt way. There wasn't enough acknowledgement of what has been done without him. And if he had done that and said, you know, hey, I think I had a part in this, it would have played different. And this is the other part when it comes back to the situation. which is there are plenty of players and athletes, you know this, that do a tremendous amount in the community. And the cameras aren't there, and they don't alert the cameras, and they don't let people know, and they don't get nearly the credit that they deserve for all that they do. But I do have trouble with the guys who show up and then make sure that the cameras are there, taking care of that everybody knows that they are doing what they're doing, because then it makes me question what your motive is.
Well,
and that's where
for me, Marcellus, I'm just telling you, Magic Johnson's my favorite athlete. His pictures, and it was because he elevated everybody else as an athlete. That's what attracted me to Magic, and that's what made us sing Magic's praises. Magic, the brand, elevates Magic, and it's inconsistent with what I fell in love with. It's the wrong play here. Sing Jeannie Buss's praises in this column, and then hey, Magic said some great things about Jeannie, and you know what? He deserves a little credit, too,
so we can get the power once again. We're mad that Magic got the power once again, proving my point. You want to know where the Rob Pelinka compliments are? Go to Bill Pulaski's house or office. They're probably on the cutting room floor. They didn't make this article. I don't know where they are.
That's a possibility.
But here's the thing. I'm tired of people wanting this false humility out of our celebrities, athletes, whoever it is. It's false. Like, I'm not going to give myself the love. But I know that you are. And if you don't and I do, then all of a sudden I'm the demon. That's not fair.
LeVar Arrington is back with us. Let's move to Cleveland. Sponsored by the Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet? The Browns host the Ravens Sunday, and after being the toast of the NFL last year, Baker Mayfield has fallen back to earth with struggles on the field and emotional outbursts marring his sophomore season. He's also had to watch Lamar Jackson steal all this thunder this year and praise the Ravens for, quote, building around Lamar and calling plays for him. All right, the question here is, what has hurt Baker Mayfield the most this year? Bad organization or bad attitude?
I would have to say bad attitude, because bad attitude, it really affects all of your choices and your outlook on your situation. So with the right attitude, you can look at all problems as solutions within. And if you don't have the right attitude, you start to think that other things are supporting other players and their success, like the organization. Look, we all know that Lamar Jackson has benefited from the fact that Greg Roman, their commitment to the run game and the quarterback in the run game is optimal for their team's success. But let's not act like Baker Mayfield has not had opportunities to maximize his own success as well, instead of regress and have a sophomore slump. What's the cliche? Attitude determines altitude. So last year, his attitude, coming in as a rookie, proving himself, humble, was different than this attitude what we're seeing this year, which is a little more excuse-laden than it was last year. So I just think that the outlook could change, and then that would change the circumstances and success.
A bad organization has led to a bad attitude. So it's like both, right? The organization.
Which one more?
Which one more? I'm going to go bad attitude more than the organization. And the reason why I think it's more of his attitude, because it's in between his ears. If mentally he can say, I am the QB of this team, I have the ability and the talent to be able to dictate what my ultimate outcomes for me as a quarterback and possibly for this team, at least this offensive unit, I think that comes from him. I think that starts with him. And if you're focused on too many other things, and I don't want to take away from him. You did all your commercials. You're very popular. People are spotting you at the games, doing what you do. You got married. He's got a lot of good things, great things going on for him outside of the game of football. But my question is when it gets down to it, are you focusing in on how well you can play and how much you can produce, or are you focused in on other things? And I think that he has control over that, and that's probably what's hurting him most.
Tell me this. Have we seen more bad attitude players have success or more bad organizations have success?
Bad attitude players, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bad organization is driving this. The Haslams I think since taking the team in 2012, I've had like 6 different head coaches. The Haslams decided to make Baker's BFF, Freddie Kitchens, the head coach. Dee Haslam, when her star defensive end was suspended by the NFL for a year for slugging a guy with his helmet over the head, showed up the next week with a hat supporting the guy. This is a bad organization. Baker has a bad attitude. I've seen a lot of bad attitude guys ball out. And trust me, he's bringing a lot of problems on himself. But it starts with a bad organization, in my opinion.
But the rose grew from this concrete last year. So guess what? Don't blame the fertile grounds, because they're fertile enough to make you good last year, could do it again this year. Why not?
Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval ratings for Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott. But first, who's your big dummy of the day?
You. I'm surprised once again. What'd you say in your Whitlock? What's that little phrase?
You know.
Fatally impotent?
Wow.
Wasn't that written in your high school yearbook?
That's nasty.
That's actually pretty good. All right, let's talk some Sean McDermott, who will lead the Bills into the Foxborough Saturday with the chance to challenge the Patriots for supremacy in the AFC East. The Patriots have dominated the division for 2 decades. Wiley, you think the Bills Mafia take down the Tom Brady and company this weekend?
I think this is the weekend, baby. Yes, I do. Tom Brady, worst stretch of his career, 9 straight games, a passer rating under 100. You got to take advantage of it right now. Bills Mafia is going to go out there and win this game. Right.
All right, Uncle Jimmy's brought the barbershop to the set here. Uncle Jimmy, do you have some thoughts on Sean McDermott? And my prediction that the Bills rattle the confidence of the Patriots this weekend with a huge upset on Saturday, led by their defense.
Hey, man, what I wish you would do, I wish you stop all your damn whining and crying about the Patriots and Bill Belichick.
Whining and crying?
It's a bad look.
How am I whining and crying?
What are we doing?
Look, man, you the one that's running around placing all them little dumbass bets on the Patriots every day. And then coming here crying on TV week to week. Like we supposed to feel sorry for you.
You mean betting against the
Look,
Patriots?
man, you upset at the Patriots because at Bill Belichick, because they done built a 20-year dynasty full of championships and traits. That's what you mad about. Look, what the hell wrong with you? Since when have you ever seen a black man get his ass whooped on TV and then you cry about it?
How am I crying?
Look, I'm gonna give you an example. Let me give you an example. Hold on, let me ask you.
What you talking about?
I'm gonna give you an example of one of the greatest black men that ever lived. Kunta Kinte.
Oh, man.
Kunta Kinte took an ass whooping for mankind. Did he? And after he got done getting his ass whooped, they said, "Now, boy, what's your name?" He said, "My name Kunta Kinte. I'm a Mandingo warrior." I got one more for you. My all-time favorite, Denzel Washington in Glory.
Oh, that's here.
What'd he do? Took an ass whipping for what? For shoes, sir. That's all. All right? Whooped his ass, and all he did was sit up here, looked at the camera like this. One tear came out of his eye. That's how we do. You hear me? That's what we do. I got one more for you. It was Denzel when he was in that movie. What's it called? When he told him in Training Day, he said, "First, I'm gonna get that money, and then I'm gonna get that gun." He turned around, so he turned there like, "Ah! You shot me in the ass, Jake." Then he did like this. That's a G. You understand me? You be embarrassing black people. And there's rules to this stuff when we get our ass whooped on TV. Look, man, you about to make white folks think you ain't got no upbringing. Look at me, you was like Trey from Boys in the Hood. You remember when Ricky got shot? I mean, every black person in the theater was traumatized. What Trey's little punk ass do? Run to his girlfriend's house crying and screaming, beating up the air. And that's what your ass doing right now.
Let me out, though.
Look, man,
All because
we
I
all
bet against the
understand
Patriots?
that Bill Belichick been in your ass deeper than a gerbil on Groundhog's Day. Okay?
Oh,
but
man.
you need to start taking this ass whooping like a man and quit crying. Don't nobody care about that. That's you. Now hurry up, finish me up. I got another show to go to.
Oh,
You know
man.
what?
My stomach.
Take this ass whooping like a man.
I'm gonna put you
Like a
and
black
LeVar
man.
in the same timeout.
Yeah.
That gerbil joke.
Who the hell said it was a joke?
We need.
All right, I got to get to my
man, hurry
Sean McDermott approval rating, if you don't mind. First time we've done him. the Bills head coach. I got him at a 21 in job performance, 5 in all-time greatness, 20 character, 20 authenticity.
Right.
6-6, a solid role player, solid first showing, first time in our approval rating.
Oh, look. That'd be $8. Get him, Uncle Jimmy. Take that money. Hey, man, all-star for me because this is a playoff-bound team who has a chance still to win the division. Who would have thought that coming into the season? So respect for what he's doing. Not GOAT, obviously, that's Belichick on the other sideline, but all-star, respect for him.
Well, the internet agrees with you. 74% say all-star. That's a high number, 74% all-star.
Y'all ain't got nothing.
Let's see.
That was my number, too.
The guy needs to do something in the postseason first, or at least get this victory on Saturday.